and how beautiful the renderings are. And I'm going to show you some pictures from the renderings that I made. It was a one-room challenge with Better Homes and Gardens that I was one of the 20 highlighted designers for. And they did a fantastic job. And I am not your typical interior designer. I do a lot of interior design work, but I do it mostly for myself. I renovate homes, and I also preserve antique and vintage homes. And so part of this challenge was to highlight redoing a room in your home. And it was a virtual edition because we're in a pandemic and we all need to be safe. So we did a virtual edition, and my premise was sort of, rather than redoing something in the home, why not go outside into the yard and build something? And so this was based on a shed that I actually had built, and I modified it to be a small garden studio where I can do floral design and garden tasks and do interior design work, and it's sort of a makeshift office for me. And then it's also a space that I can entertain in. And so, you know, part of the way I view interior design is through the lens of home economics, which is it's an old concept about an art and science about how we relate to our homes and how we build an actual relationship with our home. And I think that that's going to be a really important topic of conversation coming up in the next few years, because we all have experienced being stuck indoors in our homes and having to reimagine life at home to fit our needs. And I believe that we're going to start talking more about functionality in the home than we are about beauty of the home. And of course, I think a home needs both. But I think that the ways that we've been living in the last 25 years, where interior design has gotten away from separate rooms and we've gone into open design living and, you know, taking down walls, I think we're going to start seeing a shift in interior design where people are going to start putting walls back up and start creating other rooms and finding separation that's needed in order so that we can be able to do different tasks in our home, but be able to do them privately without disrupting the rest of the house. And so for me, part of the way that I live in my homes is, you know, I'm also a personal chef, and I'm also owned an entertaining company for 16 years and had done catering and event design. So I entertain a lot. And for me, living in my home, anytime I've looked at the architecture or the interior design of a home, I prefer a working kitchen. I prefer a kitchen that is a separate room. It has its own features that are away from the main areas of the home, so that when we entertain in our house, everything can be kept in the kitchen. So I want to go through a few slides with you just to show you what I'm talking about, and sort of to highlight the whole home economics aspect about interior design, because we can create beautiful spaces and we can make them look magazine worthy, but if they're not actually functional for our lifestyle, they're not really going to be worth much. And you're only going to end up redoing something. So for me, it's important when I think of interior design work to really think about how a house needs to function and how it needs to operate. And like I said, I think that's going to be changing with how we've seen a shift in lifestyles with the pandemic. So the first picture that you see, this is actually a Foyer rendering of the shed that I built in my garden. And they helped me to create, I sent them pictures and architectural renderings, and they actually created the walls and the ceiling for me so that we could input items into the space that I sourced out from the High Point Market. And you can see everything from the interior renderings, but also if you look through the window, they sort of matched how my yard looks in reality with the trees and everything surrounding it. And so this space really was meant for me to, as a creative space to work in outside of my home. And one of the reasons that that was important for me is because when the pandemic hit, we actually took my mother in, and she now lives with us. And so we converted what was a den on the first floor and a large utility closet. We converted that into a bedroom and a bathroom for her. And so rather than several of us in the home having to compete for space, I built this shed out in the back, and I at first was looking for, off the shelf type of sheds that you can find in a Lowe's or a Home Depot. And I was not liking the design of them. So I found a local shed builder to come in and build me a shed, actually for less than what it would have cost me to purchase one through a big box store. And then by myself, I retrofitted the inside, ran electricity, I insulated it, sheetrocked it. And so this rendering is really sort of a realistic version of how it looks inside. This is sort of an outside perspective that Foyer created. And part of the plan of the future of this, so this sits in my garden, and within the next year or two, I plan to do paving along the side of it so that I can also have an outdoor extension area where I can actually entertain indoors and outdoors. When we get out of the pandemic and we're able to have people back over, I can open up those French doors and set up a bar inside and then have seating for entertaining and dinner parties outside. And so it really and this also adds to the value of the house. That's another important thing about architecture and interior design is it's wonderful to make pretty spaces, but you also have to think about the value that you're going to create within a piece of real estate. And this is sort of a indoor, straight in look to the into the studio. And so all of the elements that you see in here, the built-ins like the desk tables and the bookcases were actually elements that I built in. Everything else that's placed in here was very easily, so I sourced all of this at the High Point Market. And within the Foyer software, I was able to replicate this furniture and add it into their program so that I could actually just slide it right into my renderings and move things around and find the best positioning with everything. And so a couple of slides that I have here is actually my own home. So just opposite of this old antique table that you see is where my garden studio is. And so again, going back to home economics, this outdoor patio for us has actually changed in style because we've had to amend how we actually entertain and have different spaces. So rather than, and I believe outdoors is going to be another huge thing in the world of interior design with creating spaces outdoors. And that's another great feature that Foyer can provide is actually planning out outdoor spaces. And I think that you're going to start seeing people utilizing more fireplaces and different seating areas. So we actually created 3 different seating areas on our patio where prior to the pandemic, it was just one large area, and that wasn't working for us anymore because we want separate areas to do different things. And so one of us can sit outside and work while the other one might be sitting outside having breakfast, but we're not competing with space anymore. And so here's a rendering, sort of an example of how we use the space to entertain outdoors. So we've created sort of a lounge area with the fireplace, and then just in the foreground is a dining table. And then in the previous slide you saw off to the side was another little dining sitting area. And again, so this is my kitchen. And like I said, when I found this house, this was built in the mid-1960s. And because I generally preserve homes, When I saw the home, it had great bones, and it also had a really great floor plan. The architect of this home knew what he was doing, and designed the home for entertaining. And because we do a lot of that, this home really, it really spoke to me. And so coming into the house, I did not have the ability to use Foyer at that time. I did not know about them, and I wish I did. So a lot of what I did in this kitchen was done by hand, but most of this is all refurbished. So this is all original cabinetry from when the home was built. And we did not change the layout of the kitchen. Again, this is a working kitchen, and I wanted to keep it original to the home, but it also had to be functional for us. So in this kitchen, there were a tremendous amount of upper cabinets in the upper area. And so we removed all them to open it up, make it airy and bright. And like I said, I wish I had Foyer because I could have played with different elements at the time. But this, I really had a little bit of forethought into going into this to create it. And off of the back of our kitchen is actually a butler's pantry. And you can see the door in the background, which goes into, it's called a prop closet. So it is actually a scullery where you keep all of your entertaining stuff, platters, dishware, silverware, stemware. And this is just off of the side of the kitchen. And I can imagine that most interior decorators today would have blown all these walls out and made this one huge kitchen with an enormous island that would have probably been beautiful. But today for us, I'm really blessed that the functionality of it is a godsend now that we're all inside at one time for great lengths of time. So even in the kitchen, we have different rooms that we can do different things within. So if somebody's cooking, we can prepare drinks in the butler's pantry and not be in each other's way. This is an interior shot of the actual prop closet. So all of my entertaining stuff is kept there. And this is all actually original to the house, which was quite beautiful. So you can see there. So this really lends to being able to have a house for entertaining. Now, I know not everybody entertains, but I am an avid entertainer. So for me, this was the functionality of the house that I did not want to ruin. And so you can even see in our large living room, rather than creating one seating area surrounded by a fireplace, we actually created lots of different seating areas so that when we do entertain, it keeps a really good flow around. And this is all the premise of home economics. This is creating a relationship within your home. It's about how your house functions, how you decorate it, and that relationship that you create with it. I'm also an avid gardener, so you'll see a lot throughout my house, stone statues and stone garden pots and stuff. I like to bring the outdoors inside. But this room actually creates a lot of versatility for us when we entertain, because we can break it down very easily and we can host dinner parties in that room for a different point of scenery when we have people over. And so obviously we're not having a ton of people over during the pandemic, but when we do get back to life as normal, I think people, this period has really sort of inspired people to reimagine how they live in their homes and how their homes can be useful for them. For some people, it's creating an office in a living room, or redoing a dining room into an office, or a school room for kids. So all of those are going to be features that I think are going to be really relevant to interior designers in the next couple of years. And I believe that we're going to, let's see if I can go back to. So we are really going to go, I think, back to a lot of what you've seen prior to 25 years ago within interior design, in seeing rooms really being built, homes being built with a separation of rooms, different functionalities in each room. And, if you noticed in some of the pictures of my home, part of the beauty is that even though there's separation of rooms, there's really large doorways. So it gives you an open feeling, but it still gives you that separation. And so that's how I think, interior design is going to relate to home economics coming up. And I also believe that that is going to be one of the features that Foyer, now having worked with them, I know any house that I'm actually in the process of buying another home to renovate, to sell, and I'm probably going to end up using Foyer for most of that, to figure out how to keep all of the elements of the home, but maybe some things need to happen, like opening up doorways and figuring out furniture placement in a home, so that when it does go to sell, or when I do go to stage it, I've got that plan in place, and it makes life a lot easier. And it also helps to sell your services to your customers a lot better than not having that at all. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take some. I've got one. Let's see. Have people already started understanding the requirements after the pandemic? So I'm not, that's a good question. I'm not sure that people are fully, I don't think that we've gone through even probably the worst of what the pandemic's going to be. I think, we're going to go through our first major holiday and our first winter of really having to be indoors. Being in a pandemic through the summer and the spring is not as difficult as it's going to be indoors. And I think when people are indoors, I really do think that it's really going to test how they see their homes. And I think when people start hiring interior decorators, that's going to be the new discussion, is how do we do this rather than how do we have a beautiful sofa in our house?
I have another one here for you as well, Joseph. I'm going to join you.
Okay.
It says, having a background in event planning and being a trained chef, and now, as we know, an avid entertainer, what are your thoughts on entertaining in the new normal?
So, I think we're going to have smaller crowds. I think that we're going to be entertaining a lot more virtually, I think. And I've actually done some virtual parties at my home where 4 of us have been here, but we've had 20 other people on. And one of the ways of doing that is you share recipes. So everybody makes similar recipes and you share drink recipes. And when everybody gets together, you're all eating and drinking sort of the same thing. But I really think people are going to be very eager to get back together with friends and family. And I think that you're going to see, for me, entertaining is about giving a part of yourself and making food and welcoming people into your home. And I think you're going to see more people opening up their doors and sitting around a table, creating relationships.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for that. Another one is, how can interior designers build their awareness on home economics and provide holistic design solutions?
It's a great question. So if you understand the principle and the science behind home economics, I think it's fairly simple. And the science of home economics is about creating a relationship within the home that you live in and your surroundings, and how that creates community within your home and around your home. So when you think about that, it's probably not too far from what interior designers already think about. But I think the perspective is even more so going to come from individually, the perspective of every single client individually, versus trends of, oh, everybody's doing open kitchens, or everybody has a huge island in the kitchen. You're going to see a lot more specialty design work happening individualistically rather than trend-wise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Question came in from Jamie in Canada, and yes, it will get tough for folks in Canada, Jamie. We're a hockey family, so we travel there, and trust me, I know that the darker days get early, and then the colder nights come in for the winter. But hang in there. Is there reading material, Joseph, that you would recommend on home economics?
So there's not anything specifically. Home economics traditionally was taught in grade school to children. And I believe as the years went on, the premise of home economics grew up as people grew up. So in the 40s and 50s, home economics was about women being in the kitchen and taking care of the home. And now home economics, I think, for me anyway, I believe is a shared approach. Our households have changed, and we live in mixed households. And I think everybody now shares a lot of the responsibility of that. So home economics is a group effort. And so there's not any one specific book to actually read for it. But what would help educate you is reading different types of materials. So garden design books, homesteading books, different books about entertaining, and even go back to the 40s and the 50s and read some older books about decorating and about interior design. And I think it's about collectively taking pieces of information from different areas and doing it as a whole. And I will say that one of the things that I've started doing is a web series called A Masterclass in Home Economics. And once a week, I'm doing a web series just teaching different things in the home, from entertaining and decorating to gardening and cooking. So anybody's always welcome to join me there on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock.
Excellent. And I have one last question for you. How does Foyer Neo as a visualization tool help you now in your design process?
So I believe, like I said before, I was actually blown away. I was not anticipating what I got from Foyer when I started using it. I had dabbled with AutoCAD and things like that, but I was not aware of how realistic the renderings come out. So for me, I usually renovate 1 or 2 houses a year, restore old antique houses. And I'm probably going to end up using that to start thinking about either redoing a house, preserving a house, but also the staging end of it for me, because I stage all my homes after they're redone to put them on the market to sell it. So for me, that's going to be a large component, is actually staging it rather than just going blindly into it. And also I still do a little bit of entertaining work for nonprofits. So I do plan black tie affairs and charity functions. And when I'm designing the interior of a space, I may also try to use Foyer for those purposes as well, for doing the interiors of ballrooms or catering halls, or even under a tent. So I think it has a lot of functionality that goes beyond just interior design.
Yeah, that's excellent. We have to add tents to our catalog.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll get you some.
Get us some models and we'll get them into the catalog.
Definitely.
All right. Excellent. Really appreciate you being here and sharing your insight with all of us. And so again, Joseph Marini, check out his website at homewithjoseph.com. So again, thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Our next guest here I'm going to introduce is Xavier Ferreira. Now, Xavier is the principal designer of Xavier Ferreira Designs in Massachusetts. One of my favorite cities is Boston. So I can't wait to see, where do you see some of his designs? And you can check out his Instagram. So Xavier is graduating in the summer of 2021 from Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design, RMCAD, which happens to be one of the schools that has added Foyer Neo to their curriculum. That was our first ever design school to do it. And they're a rather large design school in the US. I would say top 10 is kind of where we've placed them. And so Xavier found his passion in interiors and architecture at a very young age, and his designs have described telling story with much attention to details. So without further ado, I want to, there he is. Hey, Xavier, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good. So take it away.
All right. Hi, guys. hope you guys all can hear me. My name is Xavier. So Richard already did a introduction of myself. I'm gonna just kind of go more into detail. So yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, raised in a small city just south of Boston, but grew up in Boston mostly. I started as actually was training to be a ballet dancer for 10 years at Boston Ballet. And then an injury when I was 19 years old caused me to have to stop pursuing that career. So I was kind of in a standstill of what was going to do as a plan B. I didn't really have one because that was going to be my end game. But like Richard said, I always had a passion for interiors and architecture from a very young age. So years after having to retire from dancing, I actually was, thinking, okay, like maybe I can actually go back to school for this. And my wife actually was the one who pushed me to do it. So I enrolled into REMCAD, and I love the school so much. I've learned so much. Like Richard said, I'll be graduating in August. So even though I'm still a student, I really wanted to make sure that I was putting my my foot through the door before I actually did graduate. So when I started to create a website. I started to make some social media accounts just to share any designs that I did. And like Richard said, that's how I came across with Foyer. So I have a presentation, so I'm gonna open that up for you guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through. So with Foyer, so this is a rendering I did with Foyer actually. It's a new one I just did. As you can see, the renderings are so realistic. They look like a photograph. I always get comments on my Instagram account, people saying, oh my goodness, this looks so realistic, and always ask me which program I use. And I always tell them I use Foyer, and it's such a great tool. And then, so my start with Foyer. So in December of last year, actually, I got an email from the head of the interior design department, and they were telling the interior design students that they had a special offer with Foyer for the students. So I immediately signed up. Was super excited because obviously when you're studying, in the courses they teach you how to use AutoCAD, SketchUp, and Revit, which are huge softwares in the interior design and architecture field. And so it is important to know how to use those because a lot of design firms will want you to be proficient in it at least. So, but they are rather difficult to use and time consuming. So when I saw the email, I signed up right away, and I immediately started playing around with it. And I was so impressed on how quick I could just put together a design, and it didn't look like I just threw it together. It actually looked like that I spent a lot of time and attention to detail to create them. So this photograph on the left is a bathroom. It's another rendering from Foyer, as you can see. It looks real, and you can see how realistic the details of the backsplash and the alcove for the double sink vanity, and also the marble tile floor with a different pattern. I added in those textures and those materials.
Real quick, I'm sorry, this is Ashley here. We need you to, I just realized that we can't see your screen.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Just hit the share screen thing at the bottom and we got you. I want to see this awesome backsplash.
Yeah, of course. I am so sorry. I thought I had added it.
Go for it.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, you're good
sorry
to go.
about that, guys.
No worries.
All right, so this was the first bedroom I was showing you of, I was talking about in the renderings that I created on Foyer. And then, okay, so this is the bathroom I was talking about, another rendering I created on Foyer. I actually did this one earlier this week. So as I was saying, you can really see the detail and the texture of the backsplash in the alcove where the double vanity is for the sinks, and how intricate the details of the marble flooring on the pattern is. It's such a great program. I honestly can't talk well enough about it because people always ask me about it and I always let them know what it is. So with the renderings, because I'm still in school, although I do take clients time to time, what's so great about having Foyer and to be able to constantly create is that I don't have the limitation of just waiting for a client to be able to share ideas and designs I've created. I can sit down, create anything that I want, share it onto my social media and to my website, and others can see what I've been up to, ideas I have, and my the talent that I have to land potential clients. So this is another rendering I created on Foyer. This is part of a design that I did for the Design Fest Foyer did back in the summer, and I won 3rd place prize for that, and so grateful for it. And I had such great feedback on this design, and you can see how incredibly detailed and realistic they look. So, and now I'm going to go into talking about starting my interior design business. So, like I said, before graduating, I wanted to make an imprint into the interior design world before I graduated, so that I can network other people, other professionals in the business can recognize me, and I can also gain experience before taking on even more clients when I have more time after graduating and getting my degree. And again, another rendering I did on Foyer. And you can even see the grain on the wood on the cabinets to the left and the right, how detailed it is. It is really remarkable. Okay, so this is actually not a photograph. This is not a rendering off of Foyer. This is actually a real photograph, but it looks like it could come off of Foyer. This is an actual project that I did. So I'm going to talk about when creating starting your business in interior design, you have to create a brand. It's very important to have some sort of an identity with others so that they can sort of identify you as a brand and as a style, as an aesthetic. So the first thing I did when I started my interior design business, I created a logo. So with my aesthetic and my style with interior design, I love to mix modern mid-century designs with traditional antique details. So I wanted to make sure that my logo represented that. Now, my logo that I created has both those elements. I also have a website that it's all very streamlined, and it looks very, if you were to look at it, you would know it was part of my brand because of how everything matches so well. So you want to make sure that you have that identity so others can pinpoint your work and show and realize who you are. So that's how I kind of branched out to make sure that I would go about with making my my prints, my business cards, my social media. So that's what I did on that. When you build off your aesthetic and your style, it also is an expression of who you are as a person. I've always been a very interested in vintage, antique things. So I feel like when someone looks at my designs and someone looks at my social media, they can actually see my representation of who I am. So I feel like that is very important. I know in school that's one of the things they had explained to us, that it's important to create an identity and express not only as a business, but as an artist, because as interior designers, we essentially are artists. So what I've already been kind of mentioning already a lot is social media. Social media is extremely important, especially in this day and age. It's literally everywhere you are. So with interior design, because obviously it's very visual, it's important to have a very strong presence in social media. So I did that with to make sure you have the content. So I'm always trying to create new content on Foyer, that it's always something new, something exciting, so that people can actually be looking forward to seeing what you're going to put out there. You have an audience, which is all the followers that you've gained. So you want to make sure that you are giving them what they expected when they went and pressed that follow button, essentially. So obviously I have a mixture of full designs that went from start to finish, from real photographs. So I have that in the mix. Again, anything off. So I like to kind of document my progress in school so that my followers can see where I'm up to, how I've improved, where I'm going. So I also post anything that I do for school, which actually for a lot of my projects, I do use Foyer to create my my renderings. So I share that on my social media. And also you have to engage your audience. You have to engage your followers so that they have a reason to stay. People, although they love to see the work that you're doing and the art that you're putting out there, it's also important to kind of show more of your personality, more of who you are as a person. So in the middle, in the mix of everything, I also go ahead and kind of just share personal facts, personal ideas. You know, if I'm out with my wife, you know, go ahead and post a picture. And in those posts, I also try to engage the audience by asking a question, and then they will go ahead and, you know, comment on the post, and I'll engage with them that way. And in the beginning, I had a very difficult time trying to be more personable and being less private on social media, not just strictly showing my business. But in the past couple months, I have made an effort to engage more with my audience and show more of my personal life in the mix. And it has definitely made an improvement on the amount of followers I am having, and people paying attention to my work. So it's definitely important to engage with them. Another important part about social media is networking. So, you know, you have LinkedIn, which is a great way to network. You know, you have your resume on there. I try to post as much and share as much of my work on there as well, because you know, you'll get a lot of people on there that will see what you're putting out there and actually reach out to you to network with you. So actually, for an example for today, I was actually doing, you know, on my Instagram stories, I posted a question, you know, if you have any questions for me, ask whatever you want. So people would ask me questions throughout the day. I would answer it. And, you know, I would tag some other designers I was asked about what designers inspired me, so on and so forth. So actually, and a designer that I am inspired by so much, I love their work, actually reached out to me, and we had a conversation. So even something just as little as that little networking, it might not seem much now, but in some time, it could flourish into something else. So the conversations and the people you meet within the field, it's important to be able to reach out and to be able to open that window and let the networking kind of flow through your social media. So that's a great example on how to do that. So again, social media is extremely important. You want to really put your stamp on there with your business to be able to engage a huge group of followers, and then that will become potential clients in the end. So creating relationships. So I already touched upon this basically when I was talking about networking, but I want to go deeper into the process of when you meet a client until the very end of the process of, you know, going in and installing the spaces that you've designed. So communication is key, especially in interior design. You have to be very transparent, and you have to basically, your phone is your lifeline. You have to always talk to the client. If they have questions, you have to answer right away. If something seems a bit muddy with them, you have to be completely transparent with them. And you being transparent with them will show that you are that you're taking it seriously, that you care about them, and then that becomes a trust. So then the business relationship now becomes important to them because now they feel like they can trust you and it will flourish more. Another important thing, which in school they hammered us a lot in our brains, was to make sure you follow up. So not only during the process, but even when everything is said and done, you've been paid, to follow up with your client and make sure that everything is still good, that they still love, you know, the space, that they're happy with it, and to and that can eventually become a recurring client, so they can come back for you again if they need you again. So it's very important to follow up, and not only that, they will see that, wow, this designer really cared, not only after he got paid, you know, it's not like he got paid and that was done, that was it. He actually still cares and wants to make sure that that relationship is still there. So maintaining that contact and following up with the clients, you will then gain a trusted relationship with them, and they will come back and spread the word, and then you'll get more clients. So renderings are extremely important in general for the field. So I've landed clients just because of the renderings, because it's, you know, in the beginning you have to, you talk to the client, you ask for the requirements, you set up the FF&Ds, and you create mood boards, but sometimes it's still difficult to really visualize what you're trying to portray to them. So when you have a rendering that looks like a real life picture, they can then see themselves in there. They can see themselves living in that space. So with Foyer, you know, I've been able to be on site with someone, create a mood board that day, and then later that night, I have a rendering ready for them. So because it's so efficient and so quick, it's, you know, the turnover with clients has been so much better and so much quicker. So it's extremely important to make sure you have those renderings, because with AutoCAD and with Revit and SketchUp, it does take longer to create. It's more, it's not user friendly as Foyer is. So when you're able to, you know, nowadays especially, everything is so like fast paced, people want things quickly. So when you're able to produce a rendering to a client so quickly, they are then, wow, okay, like it's such a great asset to your business, and they, as a client, are so impressed by what you've been able to give to them. So it's very important to be able to create a realistic rendering for them, and it will add to the content of your social media to continue to produce some more designs, and that way you can land some more clients. So one of the last things I want to talk about with starting your own business in interior design is it's very important to be patient. I know, like, as a student, I cannot wait to graduate. I cannot wait to be fully in the world of interior design and have this be my full-time profession. But it's important when you're starting your business to be patient, because it's not going to right away pick up so quickly. So be patient, continue to learn, because the more you learn, the better you're going to be. And with the interior design field, it's always changing with trends, with software. For example, with Foyer, they are always creating different features, updating so many different things to make the experience to create through their software that much better. So, take the time to be patient and to learn and to grow as an artist, as a creative. That way it will pick up and you won't feel so down in the end. Be grateful. Just because I'm a student, I'm so grateful for people who trust in me to hire me to be able to go ahead and create beautiful spaces for them. So I take any project, big or small, with great importance, because in the long run, it's going to build your portfolio. And as your portfolio grows, the more clients you'll be able to then take, because then they will see, oh, wow, they've done so much. They'll trust you. They know that you're an expert at your craft. So it's very important to, no matter how big or small, to take on any project that you possibly can, and then your portfolio will grow. And then lastly, never give up. It's definitely difficult. You also have to put in some money to start a business. You got to spend money to make money. So it can be, I remember when I first started, even though I was still a student, I wasn't expecting, to be some big time firm. It's important to make sure that you're continuing your hard work to get to where you want to be. So always being able to create with Foyer has definitely made my business grown a little bit. I'm having, at first it was just friends who was coming to me asking me to create spaces for them, and now it's become word of mouth where other outside people have come to talk to me. So that's been a great experience. To be able to create constantly has been great, and Foyer has given me that opportunity to do that while still in school. And then this is a photo of a nursery I did for a friend. As you can see, part of my portfolio. Actually, at this point, I did not have Foyer yet. This was September of last year. So I actually used SketchUp to create the rendering for it. But as you can see, if you were to look at it, you would think that the Foyer renderings were photographs, because they look so similar. And this is another project I did. As you can see, I mix a lot of antique details and a lot of textures and patterns to create a warm environment in this space. And that brings me to the end of my my PowerPoint. I did a small video of just my Instagram feed, just so you can see my aesthetics and the type of content that I share on Instagram. you know, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I have my own website, I'm on Pinterest. So you can go ahead and follow me on any of those. I love to interact with my followers. I love, you know, any questions to share. It's a big joy in what we do is be able to engage with other people and to share my passion with others. So I hope that was that went through everything that you would think would assist you to start a business. Like I said, I'm still a student and I'm still growing as a designer. So just starting my business, I've learned so much, and you know, even just the basics can be so helpful. For instance, with social media, just the changes that I did in my patterns has changed a lot, and I've gained so many followers just through that. So I hope you guys have taken something from it. I hope you guys can find me on my website and my social media accounts and follow me. And I usually love to follow back and to be able to engage with you guys from there as well.
Hey, thank you, Xavier. Appreciate that. Well done.
Thank
We
you,
just
Richard.
have just two questions, and I think they'd be great for you to answer.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to go from start to end render for one of the designs that you were showing us?
Yeah, let me see. Actually, the bathroom, not the bathroom, the blue bedroom that I shared.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
That one, I sat down one night. I had like a color palette in my head, and I probably did that in maybe half an hour.
That's great.
Yeah, it's so efficient. Once I already have an idea and kind of where I want to go with the design, once I get into the software and start, it's so quick to do. So quick to do.
Yeah, that's great. And there was another question on, in your experience, what was the learning curve like to pick up Foyer Neo?
The learning experience was probably because in school, they hammer Revit and AutoCAD into our heads so much. It's kind of overwhelming because they are huge programs, and there's a lot to do with it that you have to know to be able to create something like just that, like that rendering that I showed you of the bedroom. So I feel like for me anyway, when I was constantly using it, I was kind of getting discouraged because it was so much. So when I got the opportunity to try out Foyer and I created designs in like half an hour, it brought my spirits back up. I didn't feel so discouraged or less confident in what I can do because of how efficient it can be. So I think that was a learning curve. I had to kind of figure out, okay, I will need to know how to use this, but it's very hard and it's kind of bringing me down. And then when I got to Foyer, I was like, oh, wow, this is like a whole different world.
Yeah, that's great. We're hearing that a lot. So thank you for all your insights. There's a lot of good feedback that you were getting that you probably couldn't see, but people really love your style, the crisp and just the sharpness of it.
Thank you so much.
Everything's looking very good. You've got a very bright future. So good luck to you, especially in your graduation this year as well.
Thank you so much, Richard. And thank you for letting me do this for you guys.
Yes, and if you're available, stick around because our next guest coming up here is going to be Ashley James. So Ashley is on our Foyer Neo team, and she is going to give a master class on Neo. So Ashley generally works with some of our larger accounts that are using Neo, where they have lots of different users, also some of the colleges and the design schools that are out there where she'll give classes. Again, I know RT just put it up there. go out to YouTube. We have so much content right now on our Foyer Technology YouTube channel. We record a lot of the events that we do with a lot of the different schools and universities, and then we stick them out there. So there's just a ton of really good information. You can keep repeating things and go step by step if you want. Hey, Ashley, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Excellent. All right. So without further ado, take it away.
Hi, guys. I've been with Foyer Neo since we launched in the US last summer, like June 2019, not 2020, 2019. And it's been so much fun just to see how the software has changed. It was like, I think a catalog of over 10,000 pieces, and now we have well over 80,000 pieces and textures and all kinds of fun stuff in our catalog now for you to adjust and play with and create all these beautiful designs. Xavier, I am obsessed with that bathroom, all the different textures and stuff and the color, and my work, I like don't want to go after you because your work is so good, but but anyways, here, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can go over a couple of things with Neo. Just one second. All righty, can everybody see my screen? Yeah, okay, cool. All right,
Yep,
so
you're
we're just on our main dashboard for Neo. So when you first log in, whether you're signing up for the free 2-week trial, which we've had forever, which is awesome because it really gets you a chance to figure out how it works for you. And it usually comes with a couple of projects preloaded from our inspiration gallery so that you can move things around and stuff without having to like start from scratch in the space. So you can kind of build your own. So I have a whole bunch of different pieces. It's also great. I'm a major organization person. So there's a bunch of different ways you can organize. You can clone projects. You can delete them if you can't stand them anymore, which, you know, most likely you're building beautiful things, so you don't have to. You can rename projects. You can move them to additional files. You can create all kinds of folders and stuff. I have my own little Ashley folder right here. But there's just a ton of ways for you to organize your work in your portfolio so that you're all set to go. So I wanted to show y'all a project that I had worked on for one of our real estate developers. There's a huge demand in multiple aspects and in real estate, both, and that's just so you know, that's where I come from, is the multifamily residential real estate world. And so there's two different really use cases for using Foyer Neo. So you can use it in real estate for like a value add. So that would be an original property that someone goes in and wants to throw money at to make it better. So they're typically redoing kitchens and bathrooms and then just basic colors and everything. But then you also have all these new luxurious, gorgeous new builds. And that's actually kind of like where I was in the real estate world and why I was so excited about Foyer Neo, because it's like, how do you show people and convince them to spend thousands of dollars a month on like a studio apartment if you can't even see it? So it's really great for whenever you have a client who can't actually visualize what a space would look like, because you can just build it out for them. So this is a project that we worked on for a developer out of Kansas, which was really fun. And as you can see, we uploaded the floor plan, we traced out the walls. You can see the basics, like how-to of how you get from A to B on our YouTube channel. I always say, go to our YouTube channel, look for Foyer Technology, and there will be a ton of content on there. How-tos, you'll hear my voice. I'm usually making jokes and laughing, but I get to the point. And you'll be able to see everything there. I want to kind of like point out a couple of the key things, like overview of Neo. One of the things that we have changed up over the last year and a half is that we have additional dimensions now. So as you can see, as I zoom in, you can see more of the dimensions of each space. which we didn't have that before. It was very like X and Y, and that was it. It wasn't every little tiny little thing for you. So especially in design, you're gonna find that you need to be able to show all the dimensions of how much space you have for things. And oh, that sectional is not going to fit in there. You don't have room for that island, or you do. You have room for 3 islands and 3 sectionals. So being able to know what your measurements are is incredibly important. We also have a great ruler tool as well that's been updated. One of the things that I'm really excited about is the ability to export your floor plan, which you weren't able to do before. And it's literally just cropping the space like this, and it just saves the entire image for you. So you can have all of your dimensions right here. You can crop that out if you want to. And then you can just download it. Boom. And that'll just be a quick download, like any of the renders are, for you to be able to use. Whoops, there we go, save. There we go, and then it's done. And that's just an image file. And it's great because then you can just open that up or send it to a contractor or anyone that you're working with that you may need to, so that you can actually see it. So that's definitely something that's cool here. Let me show that to you. I just popped up on my other screen. I'll minimize this so you can see that. And see, the grid lines are gone. So it just looks pretty and clean and happy. You can also delete the original floor plan as well. I didn't delete it, but you can delete that very easily. But you see, you get all of your dimensions, you're good to go. You could do the same thing in ceiling plan mode. So if you're in ceiling plan mode and you want to make sure that your electrician that you're working with knows where the rough-ins need to go, all of the dimensions and everything will show up, and you save it, you export the floor plan, and you can get all of that too. So that's something I'm really excited about. And honestly, guys, that's coming from feedback from you. So we have been able to develop and become an incredible software because of all of you. You've been able to show us all the things that we need to make Neo better. And we keep taking your feedback and we run with it. And now it's this amazing, super lightning fast, speedy software to get you where you want to go. So anyway, so exporting floor plans is one of the things that we're excited about. Now I'm just going to jump into 3D. Give it a second. There we go. And as you see, that was pretty fast. I know, it's really exciting, right? So this is a really cool, like, lofted space that we have. I absolutely love it. It's so, so gorgeous. And I love the brick texture that is in our catalog, which is super cool. Sorry guys, it's slowing down on me. Here, 1 second. Let me bring this back. I think I deleted my bedroom. I don't want to do that. Let's get the bedroom back. There we go. Anyways, I probably just need to reload it. All right. Well, that's okay. So all of the industrial elements and everything that you can see, like the ceiling panel and everything, that's all in Neo, which is really, really great. Even the HVAC ducting and everything, that all exists in Neo. And it's something that's just, it makes us very, very happy, because you don't have to build all this stuff from scratch. I mean, you can build it if you want to and then import it. You have the ability to upload your own 3D models right here on the left. I have a couple of models right here. Once you upload it, it does need to be an OBJ file. I think that comes from the software 3ds Max. So if you do want to bring in your own models for any sort of like custom work, you can definitely do that. You would upload your model, you would add in all of the details of what the model is going to show up in. You're going to add the nickname for it. You're going to categorize it. You're going to show, is it going to dock to the floor? Is it going to dock to the walls? Is it going to dock to the ceiling? So you just really have to try and like think about this whole 3D world and think about the box, even though we're not staying inside the box. You can definitely explore what this 3D world can live like. And once you start like designing and thinking about that weird 3D world, it's amazing what you can create, if that makes any sense. So you can upload your own models, and then you can edit them just like you would anything from the catalog in Neo. You can adjust the sizing of them. You can rotate, you can change textures, you can upload your own textures. It's completely up to you. So you can upload textures here. It just needs to be an image file. If you are working with fabrics with a manufacturer that you're a really big fan of, a lot of times their websites will actually offer an entire deck of those different types of fabrics at a really high quality image, which is what you want, because that way it will transfer over really well to the piece in Neo. So make sure the higher the quality of the textured image, the better. And that's what's going to help you really be able to scale the texture on your piece of furniture or tapestry or what have you, so that you can build it out really well. So that's really fun. So there's that too. So you can upload your own, you can move things around, you can do your whole thing. Now our catalog or warehouse, what have you, whatever you want to call it, it's massive. And we have everything set up in different categories: lighting, bathroom, building, staging, kitchen, outdoor, HVAC, furniture, and your own models. Whoops, sorry guys. I must have hit a button. Ah, go away. Here, give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Now, if you don't want to have to go through every single category, like you could very easily go through the bathroom pieces, your vanities and everything, or you can just search for pieces. So let's say we have so many different toilets. So you could just type in toilets, and anything associated with a toilet is going to show up. So you have multiple things. If you're just going to look up things that are blue, you can just look up things that are blue. You could really make it as simple as you want or as complex as you want. If you want to look up mid-century modern type pieces or super traditional type pieces, anything like that, you just type in the search term that you're looking for, and it's going to pop up. Even if you spell it wrong, it's going to show up. And if it doesn't, let us know. But it's really, really fun to be able to just kind of go through all of the different categories. And even from the beginning, I used to give a lot of tutorials and demos and stuff when I first joined the company. And now every single time I went into the catalog, there was something new that was added, which was always super exciting. Like there'd be a bunch of new windows or doors or anything. And our catalog is constantly updating and changing. So if there's something not now, request it, and it's probably going to show up, or upload it yourself, build it yourself. You can always request to have us build it as well. We've got a great team of designers that can build pieces for you. You can add credits to your account. You could do all that kind of stuff. So that's really, really fun too. But anyways, I love playing with the catalog. Now, the next thing that I also love that we just updated was all of our lighting options in Neo. And Xavier, I saw in some of your images that you had some updates, which is really great. Oh, and I lost my couch. I'm just hitting buttons, guys. I'm sorry. But one of the things that I absolutely love about this new option is that we have so many different environments now. So many different. So I just clicked on lighting over here on the left, and you have different options of day, evening, or night. So we just went from day to evening to night. And all of these spaces, the images on the outside change. And what's better is you can rotate the image. So if you end up, I think there's like a skyline view. And if you're too far to the left, there's these two guys that are like, hi. So you don't want that like outside your window. But there's a lot of really great images that we have. So let's say you're in the snow. That's kind of fun. A really great view right there. I think this one is one of my favorites because you can get the sunrise in the morning and it's absolutely gorgeous. And there's some, yeah, it's just gorgeous. And then you can change the different lighting elements. Interior lighting is all of your lighting models. So your floor lamps, your ceiling lights, all of that that's supposed to be on will be on. But you can adjust how bright the inside of the space is. So let's say you're working in a very dark space. You've made all the walls kind of like a darker palette. You do have light coming in from the windows, or maybe not a lot of windows. If you need to brighten up the space so that it doesn't come out too dark, then you can just adjust the interior lighting mode. So the entire space will brighten up, almost like a filter. So you can change it from none to as high as you want it. That's totally up to you. I typically go for medium. That's kind of like my happy spot, but remember, you can always go back and change it. You can easily do a quick preview so you don't blow through any of your credits, and that's a great way to do it too. Now, if you want to turn off any of the things that you have in your space, so your lamps, your ceiling lights and stuff, you can turn them off. You can just do it right down here. Same with the sun. If you don't want the sun coming in, creating a change to the space, you can turn that off too. So that's all right there. I think one of the things I always tell people when they're trying to create the space for a really good render is to change up your field of view. I always like to bring it down all the way down to the bottom and then zoom out with my mouse. Oh yeah, and if you don't have a mouse, go get a mouse. You need a mouse. I'm using just a little Apple like Magic Mouse, which I love, or maybe it's Mac Magic Mouse. I don't know, but I love it. But you need a mouse. It's going to make your life a lot easier when you're using you. It's just, you'll just have more movability, which is really important. But I like to have my field of view all the way down. And then let's say if you zoom too far out and you can't see your space, that's okay. You can just click the concealer tool and you can hide whatever's in your way. So that's a cabinet handle. Let me hide you. I'm going to hide the fridge or whatever that is, and we're good. Or let's say you decide, oh, I don't want to delete all these candlesticks, but I just want them out of the photo. You can hide them too. So you can definitely like play with rendering and stuff so that you can hide stuff and get everything where you want it. You can bring your height down. Down here is the blue, that's the earth, and the yellow is the sun. So you could definitely change up your time of day. You also want to make sure that the sun is coming in from somewhere natural. You might not want it to be coming in from underneath your front door. That could be a structure problem with your house. So make sure it's always coming from somewhere natural, unless there's no way you could ever know where it's actually coming from, and it just makes the space look really cool with like the different rays of light coming in. The AI in Neo, which is superb, but the AI in Neo is going to automatically recognize any of the panes that you have in your windows, anything that you have obstructing the window, and it's going to cast a beautiful shadow when you create that render. So you really get the essence of that like real life-like image, which just like Xavier had said, like it's sometimes difficult for you to be able to see the difference between an actual photo and a Neo photo. So that's kind of cool too. And also with playing with the light coming into your space, with the sun coming into your space rather, I kind of go by like the rule of 3. So I always try to have like the sun coming in, you know, touching the floor, touching an element, like something in the space, and then touching a wall. And I feel that just kind of gives a more even tone of light and texture across the space. Also, it doesn't allow you to overexpose anything with too much light coming directly on it, which just like taking a photograph, if you've got too much sun coming at you, you're going to lose everything else. So just kind of have to think about it in that kind of way. You can also save in like settings and everything. So let's say if I really love this view, I could save it. You can resave multiple views if you want to, which is really, really great when you've got a picky client and they want to know multiple options. So they can really, really pick and choose between different things very quickly with like, oh, I don't like that backsplash. I want this backsplash. I want this color, because the photo is always the same, but then you're going back and changing it and then re-rendering the same settings over and over and over again. So that's really useful too. And rendered images, 4K, high quality, super, oh my goodness, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can print it, you can put it on your web page, you can put it on your portfolio, you can stick it on Instagram. 4K high quality costs you 3 credits every single time. And that's why it's always good to click Get Preview, and you can get a quick preview of what the space is going to look like. You can see it's just ticking around right now. And that will take less than 6 minutes. Less than 6 minutes. Don't have a million windows open. That's my little Neo hack, because we are a cloud-based software. So it's all relying on your internet speed and everything. However, it is typically under 6 minutes for a high 4K quality image. And so you're not going to be wasting time and hours waiting for something to render only to realize that didn't look right. So, and as you see, the preview is quite quick too. So that's coming along as well. Now, something else that's very new that I'm super excited about is something that we've been doing kind of as a service with Foyer Neo, and that's creating a walkthrough. So this button up here on the top right is your walkthrough button, and that's going to allow you to take any space that you've created in Neo and turn it into a live walkable tour. And you can adjust the cameras of where they're located. You can even name everything. While the preview is still loading, I'm going to go ahead and take you to what a tour of this space looks like. So, hey, all my stuff came back. So this is a walkthrough tour that was created in Neo. I love it. It's so much fun. It's like the next step to wow your customer base, to wow. This is that HD TV experience that everyone is asking about now. And you can get it. You can be Joanna Gaines. You can do whatever you want, create your own brand of doing this kind of stuff. But thinking about how quickly you can build a space, and then you can create a walkthrough tour and really wow that like hard to get client or hard to make happy client, you can create an incredible space. This has a great little mini map right here, and you can see there's your bedroom, and you can really see the space. Oh, and this is also mobile. So you can open this up on your cell phone. You can do it on a tablet. So if you're at the client's home and not in front of your computer with all your gadgets and gizmos, you can still show them what your plan is, what the design is going to look like. So that's something that's really cool too. You just kind of zoom around. I love this one. This one came out really cool. And see, even the lighting, just like the renderings, like everything is just really crisp and clean and pretty and warm and real. So that's the next thing with Foyer Neo is the ability to create. See, there's your quick little preview of what that image looks like. So I know that I was zoomed out too far. I'm up too high. I'm missing a couple things. Now I can make the adjustments to the image that I want. So other than the walkthrough, another really great thing that we have is here. I'm back on my dashboard. Gallery is where all of your rendered images are going to live. And I have a ton of different projects here. So we have our recent renders that we've just done. We have renders by project. So I've got like 10 different renders of this project called Office Space, 12 from this one called Dining, which Xavier, I love that one space that you submitted for the contest, being able to view like room to room, like it creates so much interest. So anytime you're in a position where you can build off of one room and they flow into the other, that's just the coolest thing, because it makes it feel even more realistic as opposed to just a flat space of a couch and a wall. You know, being able to see the whole space and like how the lights and the colors and the textures all flow. I think that's a gorgeous way to really represent design and to, it's art. That is the art right there, and how you marry all of it together. So anyways, that's super exciting. One of the things that's great about your gallery is that you can actually do different renderings now. So let me pull this one up. You can enhance your renders. See, enhance render right here. This is all blown out. Hold on a second. Let me, actual size. There we go. So this was a kitchen that I was working on for a friend of mine that was just bought a new house, and they're trying to create more of an open plan. So just trying to create kind of an idea based off of architects and all that kind of stuff with what's a wall that they can get rid of, what's a wall they can't get rid of. anyways, this is a partial of the kitchen. That's kind of fun. And I think their backyard actually looks like that. That's just one of our environments, but they're in Wales. So they have a really cool, like, anyways, there's like rolling hills and stuff. It's gorgeous. But now that we're here in gallery and I've hit enhance render, you have a couple things you can do here. I love to crop images to create better visual. So I'm kind of happy with the way that my render came out for this. I like that it showed everything, but I'm just gonna maybe crop just a little bit out. That was a manual crop that I just did there. And then you can also adjust the light, the contrast, your saturation, your hues, all of that kind of stuff if you really just want to make it crisp a little bit more. What's great about this in Neo is that you don't have to download the image and put it in Photoshop. You can just do it here. We don't have all of the ability as Photoshop, but just little tweaks here and there, that's great. You know, you've got it right there. You don't have to waste time jumping into another software. And then another great thing about having it here in Neo is you can add your brand. So once you have learned Xavier's 101, how to build a really beautiful brand image, then you can upload your gorgeous image onto your picture. So I actually have a Foyer logo that I'm going to pop on here. I'm just going to stick it up here in this corner and I'll minimize it. And then you can even adjust the transparency if you don't want it to be like super loud. You just kind of want like a hint of your logo. You can do that. You can also add text. So kitchen option 1. So let's say this is, you know, this is super useful too. So we can do that. And you can move this as well. Hold on 1 second. Come here. Well, she's not agreeing with me right now, but you can move the text to somewhere else on the space as well. And you can also create little lines. I know I was working with Converse University. Shout out Converse, you guys are awesome. And a lot of times they'll have an image and then they have like lines to the specific model and pieces like that, which you can do too. And the way to kind of like get away with doing that is adding another text box. Of course, I can't. Hold on. Come on, work with me. There we go. See, you can move it. Okay, so kitchen option 1, I'm just going to stick that there. But you can also just add a text box and do an underline. You can change the color of it. Let's make it red. And then you can move it to wherever you need to go, add another text box. So you get the point. So then you can create like the different things so that your client knows what options are in there. Again, you don't have to pull this out of Neo to do it. So there's that too. And then you can just save. Now, what's great about also enhancing your renders in Neo is that it saves like a new render without costing you anything. So you can just save it. And then if you want to make another option, you can just go back to the original image and then make some changes to it, add some additional text to it, whatever you need to do. So you're never losing that original rendered image that you created. You always have that in your arsenal to play with. So anyways, you can also create templates and stuff too. Yes, thank you very much. So that's kind of Neo in a nutshell. Again, there's a lot of like the basics, like how to upload a floor plan, how to trace out the walls and all of that kind of stuff in our YouTube channel, Foyer Technology. But overall, that's Neo.
Thanks, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Of course. Here, let me stop sharing my screen.
We're just gonna wrap things up here. So just a few more things. The contest, there's 3 of them. There's the Foyr Neo Weekly Raffle. That's where you register for the webinar series to automatically enter the raffle. So all of you that have already registered today for this webinar series you've already successfully entered in. So there's gonna be 4 lucky winners there with a chance to win $50 and a quarterly subscription to Neo. Then we have our second prize, which is Top Buzz Creator on social media. So share about the event, use the hashtag Foyer Talks Neo, And the best post that stands out has a chance to win $100 each and every week that we go through the series. And there's 5 total talks. And then our last one is kudos on your first render, which is sign up on the Foyer.com for a 14-day free trial, unless you're already a customer of ours out there. And create your first render, share it on Instagram. Again, use the hashtag Foyr Neo Weekly, and one lucky winner gets to win $250. So let's let the creativity flow. Our next webinar is going to be on December 3rd after the holiday. That's our next talk. We're going to have 2 guests that day. We're going to have Ada Laura, who's been on a lot of the different webinars we've had. She's got some incredible design tips. Best interior design softwares is what the topic is going to be. And then we also have Chad Smith, who's a friend of ours. Chad is with Side Door. And what he's been doing in the space is really disruptive, which is if you are tired of getting shopped, meaning you're looking for ways to make margin on the actual commissions on sourcing products, Chad's company Side Door is helping thousands of designers do this. So that's it. We're going to sign off now and appreciate everybody joining us today. See ya.